Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rochelle and this is Brampton Gardener, and these are my NIG Grow Off tomatoes. You can see they were kind of getting too big for where they were at, so I potted them up and they are doing just fabulous. Let's get to it. So you might be wondering, what is she doing? So these are some grow bags that I made last year or the year before, I can't remember. I made a few of these. So these are the larger size that I made, and then I made several of these tiny size. So they're super easy to make. I do have a blog, I'll link down below, and if I make any more, I will make a quick video of how I make them, but they're super easy, super quick. You can use a sewing machine. You could probably use staples. I have no idea how good a glue gun would work, but this is the size of the other one. So it's about the size of a solo cup, instead of having to store the plastic or whatever. But this really helps with the air pruning with the grow bag. So if you're into air pruning and grow bags, then these are a great little tip for you. I also used these the first year. These are the Dollarama grocery bags. I can get them the 3 for $1. So you can use these as well out in the garden. I use them all summer long for my tomatoes one year. So the other day when I was showing you my MIG Grow Off, so it was just a couple of days ago, I realized that I tried an experiment of just adding more soil to the block where it was at, and it kind of made a bit of a mess. So I stuck it in one of my cups, in the cup, and I realized, okay, you know what, these do need to get potted up. And I think someone mentioned that on my one of my comments. They're like, I think you need to start potting those up. So I'm going to pot up the tomatoes into this, the larger size. So I have, I think, 3 of the bigger tomatoes. So then I will be choosing the largest one or the healthiest one when the time comes when I do my grow off challenge. And then the tomato and cilantro will go into the smaller container. So I'm just gonna be sitting here and I'm just gonna kind of pop everything up. So this is for my MIG Grow Off. So you might be wondering, why did I bother? Why am I starting them so early? Normally I would never have started any of these this early. I wouldn't have, so it's not a failure on like the size of the soil blocks, because if you do them at the right time, the tomatoes should be able to stay in these soil blocks until they go out, which will happen with my next round of the actual like large full-size tomatoes. I'll show you a picture last summer of how they looked before I planted them out, and they did just fine in just the soil blocks. But I want to get these bigger and beefier because I want to win. So I just have this big plastic container. This is what I'm going to use to just set my pots in, just so it's easier to move them around up top when I want to get them under the soil, or into, under the lights, or into the sunshine, whatever I want to do. So put that there. So I'm just going to start filling these. Now you can see how, like, this is a ton more soil than that is going to need. It's folded down in half. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it folded in half, and I'm going to fill the soil, and I'm going to plant it. And then as it grows taller, I can just unroll this. And I did this last year. I think I showed on some people when I went and I made them all bigger. So as it grows taller, then I can just add more soil, and then in process of doing that, I keep burying my stem, and that is really important with tomatoes and peppers. The deeper the stem is, the more roots it can grow, and the sturdier and more stable your plant will be. Okay, so I'll put it back down to the half size. And we'll see how, I mean, it could grow pretty fast once it gets in here. This is all fresh soil. And you know, these soils have all kinds of nutrients and stuff in them. So a fresh load, and I will fertilize them in as well once I get them planted. And I did cover my nose and mouth while mixing the soil with some water, because very, very important that we don't breathe all that stuff in. I see so many people not bothering with that. And there's no excuse, because we all have masks in our house, so there's no excuse not to have a mask on when doing that. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to pinch back, pull it out of here. So this is what it's looking like. See, I had stuck a second soil block on top, And I actually think that that was pretty ingenious, and I might end up doing that with my larger tomatoes if I want to give them more soil. I took the regular soil block, I cut it in half, and I put half on each side. And so it's holding together now. It was just a little crumbly at the time, and in this low of a tray, I was afraid it would fall off. So I will probably be doing my tomatoes in these trays when I pot them up, because it's got a higher side. And then I can just leave them in the soil blocks like that, doubled up, which I think, actually think it's really gonna work really well. Okay, so I will pull that off for now, just so I can bury it deeper. I'm gonna just pinch off this one, and I don't know, I'll leave that. I don't want it touching the dirt though. Right now I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna take it off because I don't want it touching the dirt at all. That's how you risk infections and stuff. Okay, so like I said before, I'm gonna bury this as deep as I can, all the way down like that. And then we're gonna you don't want to pack it too tight, but you don't want to have any air pockets around the roots at all. And you're just going to come in like this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And there we go. So here it is in this container. And these are pretty easy to move around too. They're pretty sturdy. Yeah. So 1 down, 3 more tomatoes to go. So you'll see these are much smaller bags, but just like the other, I can add as much soil to them as I want. Okay, so the cilantro is going to get a nice good prune right now because it's getting really long and gangly, and I do not want it to start bolting on me. So I'm just going to give it a prune and save the grains, of course, because they're delicious. And I will wash that off. Okay, I'm gonna make sure to weigh that so I can quantify my harvest off my MIG stuff already. And then my basil. So I'm gonna prune this back too. And I might as well, maybe I'll do it after I get it into the pots. So let's do the cilantro. Family Day here in Canada. It is February. I keep saying January for some reason. February 21st. Okay, so I'm going to take my basil. I want to plant it a little deeper. Basil will also root all along the stem. Roots really, really well. I like them. Tomatoes, it'll root all the way up. So I'm going to bury it a little deeper, like that, because these guys were not getting enough wind. They were blocked by the tomatoes. I'm going to take a glass like this with some water in it. All right, and then be brave, okay? I know, this is hard to do. The first time I did it, I almost cried. Bump. And then you're gonna take that basil, and you can either eat it, or I can stick it in this glass, and we're gonna watch it start to grow roots, and I can make a whole nother little basil plant out of that. All right. I know it's scary. I know it's scary, but it will work. You just want to make sure there's enough room to get a stem on it. Anything shorter than that would be really tricky. So you might wonder why the grow bags, why these little bags, not solo cups, stuff like that. For one thing, they're easier to store. Like they fold it flat, you shove them in a bag, and they're really easy to store for next year. Another reason, look at that, this one got really weird and long. Thank you. Another reason I really like them is because of the air pruning. So if you're not familiar with what air pruning is, I will link down below the video I did on that one before. But just a brief overview, what happens is you can see here the roots, they come out, and then instead of roots getting root bound in containers, they don't go around and around. They hit the edge where the air is, and then they kind of pull back a little bit. And actually I'm gonna pull these ones off because I want it, this thing's kind of weak at the bottom. So we're gonna try this. We're gonna bury that to where we have a nice stem here. Okay. Okay, and I am gonna prune the top off just so it has less, because I've done a lot to it. This way it has less. So I don't know, that might not be long enough to root. We'll try it, but that might be a bit short. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It's like baby Groot. Okay. And actually I'm just gonna put this stick in it here too, just to kind of help straighten it up a little bit for now. And then once it starts growing up, we can take that off there. All right, so I changed my mind about having cilantro in here because this container is going to be in the window and it's going to get nice and warm, and it's going to create a little mini greenhouse inside the window, and that is going to make my cilantro bolt. So I'm going to pull out all the cilantro and just have the basil and tomatoes in here. So I have enough of these. I think I have enough of the basil. I'll leave that basil there because it's kind of messy, and I'll pop in this little tomato here. Okay, so at some point when I figure out my 5-gallon container, I will put that in the container. Hopefully not too much longer, but at this time I need to be able to fertilize them, and they kind of have different nutritional needs, so I can keep it. Thank you for gagging in the background, X. Okay, so this is all going to go upstairs. I'm going to give it a quick fertilize when I get up there. You okay there, buddy? And then we're going to weigh my trimmings here. So we're back to 0. Well, you can see that on the Oh, you can't see the screen there. See, it's oh, it's at 0.2 now. Hold on. Get these out of the way. Okay, so we are at 0, and I'm going to put in my cilantro and then basil that we collected today, and I am at it won't stand up. Okay, come on. Okay, it's saying 0.5 ounces. So here they are, all tucked in for the night. They're up here on their shelf in the grow unit. They got their own little light up there, and then the other ones are down here sitting on the tray. The cilantro doing its thing. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my update for these guys.